Hi all. In the earlier video, we discussed the code snippet which ended up with a runtime exception called array index out of bounds exception. And we got a better understanding why that exception occurred and what happened when it was not handled properly. So let's have a understanding of that snippet in a more detailed manner. So if you look at this use case which we actually discussed in the earlier video, so we are trying to access an array using an index value which starts with 0. So we were trying to access the index position 3. Okay, so that's what the earlier code snippet was trying to do. So we were trying to access the index position 3. Literally it means the fourth element. So but actually in the code snippet we have seen an array, a string array which got created with 3 elements but not with 4 elements. But unfortunately in line number 6 we were trying to access the fourth element via the index position called 3. But in the array there is no existence of index number 3, right? So there is no existence of that index position 3, and because of this we ended up with an exception stating array index out of bound exception. So what technically happened was we only had 3 elements starting with an index of 0, 1 and 2. We should have accessed the third element by using 2, access the second element by using 1, and access the first element by using 0. That would have been fine, and the runtime might not have been ended up with any issues. But in line number 6, according to the code snippet, in line number 6 we are trying to access the fourth element which is indexing of 3, which doesn't exist. So index 3 does not exist, and because of that we ended up with a problem. Accessing an out of range index, accessing an out of range index at runtime, okay, index position of an array leads to a runtime exception called array index out of bounds exception, right? So we are getting more deeper understanding of why that error occurred. We were trying to access a position, array indexing position, which doesn't exist, and this is known only at the runtime. That's why I stated compiler can't trace whether you are trying to access an index position which is available or not. The compiler cannot predict that way, and compiler can't end up with saying an error saying, hey, you are accessing an array position which doesn't exist. Compiler can't do that. Only the runtime will get to know which position of an array you are trying to access, and if it's there, it will get you the response. Otherwise, it will throw an exception. So it's according to the code snippet, the line number 6 leads to an runtime exception called array index out of bounds exception. Hope this makes more clarity on what happens if we don't have a proper exception handler in place, right? So in the next video we'll discuss more other concepts of exceptions. Thank you all.